Hello everyone, I am Neelam Choudhary, your host for the web series Django Project Based Learning. So, if you are really liking my series, kindly like and subscribe my channel as it will boost me to create many more videos. So, in today's video, we'll see how we can set up the development environment for our Django project. So, whenever you are going to start with the Django project, there are certain dependency that you need. That is Python, Django, certain other dependency, and then we'll touch the topic that is setting up the virtual environment. I have seen the learners have so many doubts related to virtual environment. So I have tried to cover all those doubts in this particular PPT. If still there are some doubts which has not been clear, you can write down in the comment box and I will give you the answers for that doubts as well. Okay, so let us begin. So first thing is what we'll see how we can download Python. To download the Python, you will go to this particular website. That is, go to Chrome, write down, or whichever web browser you are having, and write download Python. Then click on the very first link that you are seeing. Then click on download Python. Whichever version you can see, you will see the latest version over here. Currently, the latest version is 3.12, so I will download that. In future, it may change. Even if the version is different, the installation process will always be the same. So, you have to follow the same steps, okay? So, I will click on download Python 3.12. I will download in the downloads folder. I will click on save. It is getting downloaded. Once it is downloaded, I will go to that particular folder and you can see it is downloaded. Now double click over here. So after you have double click, you will see a screen like this way. So when you will see a screen like this way, you will click on add python.exe to path. If you do not tick mark on this particular checkbox, what will happen? The Python may get installed at different location. Then you will have to set the path manually. So to avoid that, better you tick mark over here and the path will be set properly. Okay. So after you have clicked on this particular checkbox, click on customize installation. As soon as you will click on customize installation, it will take you to the next screen. Over here, you will not do anything. You will just click on next. Then you will tick this particular checkbox, install Python 3.11 for all users. Whichever version you are having, you will see it over here. Maybe 3.11, 12, whichever version it is there. After you have checked this particular box, click on install and the installation will start. Once the installation has been done, to check whether the Python has been installed properly or not, what you can do, you can go to the command prompt. You can type cmd and you can write Python -- version. You can see which Python version I am having, 3.12. Now, those who are not having the latest version and want to update their Python, they can update also. So, to update, what you will do, again you will go to the Python website. Whichever is the latest version you will see, just install that particular version. Again, you will go to folder wherever that exe file is there. Double click on that file and click on update. If it is giving you update option, you will click on update. If it is asking you to reinstall, you will reinstall it. Okay. So this is how you can update the Python or install the Python. So now once you have the Python in your system, what is the next thing that you require to start working with Django? One of the code editor. Any code editor will do. In the previous video, we have seen how to install and start working with the VS Code. You should have any one of the web browser so we can see the output on that particular web browser. Okay. Now, the next thing that is needed is a Django. Django, there are two methods. One is we can install the Django globally in our system, or we can install in the separate virtual environment. Normally, whenever we create a project, we work with the separate virtual environment. What is virtual environment, why it is needed, how to do it, we'll see in the coming slide. Now let us see how we can install Django globally. So to install the Django globally, you have a command pip install Django. If you want to download a particular version of a Django, you can use pip install Django equal to that particular version. Now to check whether the Django has been installed correctly or not, you can use this command Django admin -- version. If you want to uninstall, you can write down the command pip uninstall Django. So let us see practically. We'll go to the command prompt that we are having and we will write pip. Let us see whether I have Django or not first of all. I will write to check the Django is installed or not. What is the command? Django admin -- version. So you can see it is writing Django is not recognized as an internal or external command. It means Django is not there in my system. So I will install Django. To install Django, the command is pip install Django. So now it will start installing Django. It will take some time. It is installing Django. The version is 4.2.7. It is installing. It has been installed. Now again to check whether it is installed or not, you can write down the command Django admin -- version. So once you have already written a command in the command prompt, you don't have to write it again. You can use the up arrow of your keyboard, okay, to go through the commands that you have written, up and down arrow. So I will write Django admin -- version. Now you can see the Django is installed in my system. So suppose now if I want to uninstall Django. So to uninstall, I will write pip uninstall Django. I do a lot of mistakes while writing uninstall. So it will uninstall. See, uninstalling 4.2.7. So it is uninstalling from this particular path. Now to check whether it is uninstalled properly or not, what I will do? Run this particular command Django admin -- version. See. So I hope you have understood how we can install it globally. To install, this is a command. To check whether it is installed properly or not, this is a command. To uninstall, this is a command. Now we'll see how we can install it in a separate virtual environment. The commands will be same, but the only difference would be we have to create a virtual environment first. Okay, so let us see. So before starting how to install in a separate virtual environment, let us see why do we need a separate virtual environment. Okay, virtual environment is needed whenever you want to create an isolated environment for a project. So suppose you are having multiple projects. That time you need a separate environment for A and a separate environment for B. Why? Let us take this example, you will understand. Suppose you have a project A and you have another project B. Now project A requires a request version 2.0 or 2.0. In project B, it requires a request version 3.0. So when you are working with project A, what will happen? You will download the request version 2.0. When you will start working with project B, you will upgrade that request version to 3.0. Again, when you are working with project A, you will uninstall that request version and you will download with the version 2.0. Again, you want to work with B, again you will upgrade. Again, you want to work with A, again you will reinstall. So this process will go on. But over here, I have given you one example of library. Suppose you have multiple libraries. A is working on different Django versions, different NumPy versions and everything. B is working on different versions of those libraries. So is it possible every time to upgrade all the libraries? No, it is not possible. So that is why we work with the virtual environment whenever we work on multiple projects. So what the virtual environment will do? It will create a virtual space for A, where all the dependency and the libraries of A will get installed over there. And when we create a project B, will have its own virtual environment. So all the dependency and libraries that it need will be in that particular virtual environment. So this A and B are what isolated from each other. So when you are working with A, it will have its own dependency. No need to change any particular libraries or version. When you are working with B, it will have its own dependency. No need to keep on changing. So that is why we go for the virtual environment. I hope the concept of virtual environment is clear to you guys. So now let us see. So if you'll see, without the virtual environment, what I'm doing, I'm installing the request version 2.0 globally, because you will have to do it globally. No? There is no virtual environment. Then we'll install the request 2.0. You will work on that particular project. When you want to work on project B, it will require the version 3.0. And if you have upgrade globally, project A might break. That is why we go for the virtual environment. Whereas when you are working with the virtual environment, what is going to happen? A will have its own virtual environment. You will activate the virtual environment, and in that environment, you will download this request version. And you will start working with project A. And after your work is done, you will deactivate the virtual environment. When you are working with project B, first you will create the virtual environment. You will activate that particular virtual environment. You will install all the dependencies that you need. You will start working on that project, and once it is done, you will deactivate. So this is how the virtual environment works. Okay. So to see step by step how to install or activate the virtual environment, let us see over here. So first, install virtual environment wrapper. The first thing that you need is what? A virtual environment wrapper that will help us to create the virtual environment. You can either use this command pip install virtual env wrapper -win, or you can use pip install virtual env. Now pip install virtual env is a basic command. Over here, this is what giving you more features. The next thing is what? When you will create the virtual environment. Whichever folder you want to create a virtual environment, you can go to that particular folder, and from that particular folder, you can run the command make virtual environment. This is the name of the virtual environment that you want to give. Whatever is in yellow, it means you can change it as per your need. Whatever name you want to give, env, vnv. If you are using the virtual wrapper win installation, you are going to use this command. If you have installed the virtual wrapper with the help of this command, to create the virtual environment, you will use this command. Okay. So depending upon how we have installed the virtual wrapper, the command to create the virtual environment will change. See, somewhere if you are going through some videos, you will see he is installing differently, then he is running different command. Do not worry. Okay. There are multiple ways to do the same thing. So for this is a command, and for this one, this is a command. Now to activate the virtual environment, once you have the virtual wrapper, every time you are going to create a project, you will create the virtual environment. And once the virtual environment has been created, you will activate the virtual environment. So for this, how to activate the virtual environment, you will write work on and the name that you had given. If you have installed like this way, this is how you create the virtual environment. And this is how you will activate the virtual environment. The step that I'm going to follow in this particular series is this one. Whichever you want, you can go for it, but I will follow this one. Okay. And after the virtual environment has been activated, what you will do? You will install Django. And how to install the Django? Pip install Django. Okay. So let us see this practically, how to do. Let me create a folder. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . virtual show. And I want to create a virtual environment over here. So what I will do, I will go in this particular folder and I will open the command prompt from here. So how to open? Either you can open the command prompt from this particular window and you can navigate to this particular directory, or you can open this particular folder and you can write cmd enter and it will open the command prompt for you. We'll see what are the different ways while creating different projects. Okay, so see. So now in this folder, what I will do, I will create a virtual environment. Now for the first time when you are installing, is before creating the virtual environment, you will be requiring what? A virtual wrapper. So you will write the command install virtual env. So I have downloaded the virtual wrapper. So only once you have to do it. Okay, from next time onwards, you can directly start creating the virtual environment and you will activate that virtual environment. So now I will create the virtual environment, Python -n env and whatever name that you want to give. Suppose I want to give the name as env. I will give env and I will click enter. So as soon as I will click enter, it will start creating a virtual environment in this folder. Can you see? In this folder, it has started creating the virtual environment, env. It will take some time to create the virtual environment. So once it has been created, you have to activate the virtual environment. How do we activate? We write dot, the name of the virtual environment, scripts /activate. Of course, there are multiple ways to activate also. You can go in that file and you can execute the file, or you can do it like this way. So I know the virtual environment has been activated because I can see it over here. As soon as it is activated, you will see in the bracket. And you can now install Django over here. So to install Django, what was the command? Pip install Django. So now Django will get installed in this particular virtual environment. So let us see. So now to check whether the Django has been installed properly or not, what is the command? Django admin -- version. Okay. So now we'll see in the upcoming videos how we can start working with project also. So once you have completed your project, what you will do, you will deactivate your virtual environment. So to deactivate your virtual environment, the command is deactivate. So you can see the virtual environment has been deactivated. So now if I'll check the Django version, it is saying Django admin is not recognized. It means what we have done, we have created a virtual environment, a local space or a virtual space in our system. Okay, and in that particular space, we had installed Django. So now when we are into the global system, because that virtual environment has been deactivated, now we are in the global system. And when I'm trying to look for the Django in the global system, it is saying Django has not been installed. Again, if you want to check whether the Django is there in that particular virtual environment or not, what you will do, you will again activate your virtual environment. To activate the virtual environment, what is a command? This is a command. As soon as I will press it, it will activate my virtual environment. Now again, let me check whether the Django is there or not. The Django is present. So that is why we go for the virtual environment. Whatever we are going to install, it will be there in that environment only. So this is how we create a virtual environment. and how do we install a Django in the virtual environment. So I hope this is clear. Start working. Let me just summarize it quickly. If you want to start working with Django, first thing is what? Create a separate virtual environment. For the first time, you will have to write down pip install virtual env. From next project onwards, you don't need it because it will already be installed in your system. Next thing is what? To create a virtual environment. For every project, you will create another virtual environment. After you have created a virtual environment, the most important step is to activate the virtual environment. Once you have activated, then install Django and start working with your project. Can we have multiple virtual environments? So for every project, can we have different virtual environment? Yes. If you have 10 projects, you can have 10 virtual environments. If you have 20 projects, you can have 20 virtual environment also. So if you have, suppose you have a project A. So you will go to the folder of project A. You will create the virtual environment with the help of Python and env, the name of the virtual environment that you want to give. Then you will activate that virtual environment. You will install whichever version of Django you want. You will start working on it and then you will deactivate. Suppose you want project B. You will go in the folder of project B. You will create a virtual environment. You will activate that virtual environment. You will install your Django, your dependencies, start working on it. And after you have done, you will deactivate. So you can have multiple virtual environments for multiple projects. Okay. Next, can we have one virtual environment and multiple projects in that particular virtual environment? Yes. Suppose I'm working today. I have created one project and I've created another project. Both the projects have similar dependency. Their working is also same. Everything is same. So what I will do? So instead of creating different virtual environment, I know both of them require the same dependency. So I will create one virtual environment. And in that virtual environment, I will have both the project A and B because both require the similar dependency or the libraries. That is why. So we can have one virtual environment and multiple projects also in that particular virtual environment depending upon your requirements. So what you will do, you will go to the particular folder wherever you want to create the virtual environment. You will create the virtual environment. You will activate the virtual environment. You will go to the project A. You will install Django. You will create another project B. You will install, suppose you want to work on Flask. You will install Flask and you will start working on that project. Whenever the project A is completed, deactivate it. If you want to start working with B, again activate the virtual environment, work with that project. Now here I have shown the different dependency. Why? Because it is okay if you want to work with the multiple projects which are having different dependency, but in the same virtual environment, you can do that also. Although you should not do it, but you can do it. Geshan. So can you have virtual environment in C drive and you can have your project in D drive? Yes, you can have it. So you can have the virtual environment and project located in completely different directories or locations. The virtual environment is essentially a standalone directory or a folder that contains its own Python libraries. It can be activated from anywhere. So it's okay, you can have the project in different folder and the virtual environment in different folders. What happens whenever we are working on the project, we create one folder of virtual environments where all the virtual environments that we are going to work it, we create the virtual environments over there and the project folder we keep it different. The first project, second project we create it differently. So this is also totally okay. But if you want one folder, in that folder you want the virtual environment and your project, that is also totally fine. So anyway, you can do it. So wherever you want to create a virtual environment, you will go to that specific folder. You will create your virtual environment. You will activate your virtual environment. Then you will come to the Django. You will come to the folder where you want to create the Django project. You will install Django. First, this has to be activated, okay? Then you will create a Django project. You will start working on the project. Once it is done, you will deactivate it. I will create one more video showing you how we can have the virtual environment in different location and Django project in different location. Okay. So now let us go for the next one. Check all the virtual environment in your system. So what happens? The learners, they create the virtual environment and then they don't remember, or they say, how many virtual environments do I have? I don't know. So what you can do, you can run this particular command in your command prompt. And this particular command is looking for all the folders that is having the scripts in it. So do you remember to activate the virtual environment, what we are writing, the name of the virtual environment, whatever you have given, scripts. So all the virtual environment will have the folder scripts. So we are trying to look for the folders which have our scripts. So wherever you have the script folders over there, definitely you will be having the virtual environment. This is related to Windows system I am talking. Okay? Yeah, according to the system, it will change. So let us see practically. You can open from here also. You just have to write CMD and it will get open. Just write it down, click enter, and you will be able to see. Let us wait. It will take some time. So you can see over here. So this is a Python scripts. So that is not the virtual environment. See, here I am having one virtual environment. Auth env name. And the next virtual environment is in the rough folder. Next virtual environment is in this folder. So these four are my virtual environments that I have created so far. Okay. So with the help of this command, you can see how many virtual environments you have in your system. So suppose you are working with the Django project and that Django project was created in the virtual environment and accidentally you have deleted the virtual environment. So no need to worry. We will, or we can say whenever we are working on the project and when we upload the project on the GitHub, we don't upload the virtual environment. Okay. So when you will download the project or from the GitHub, you will not have the virtual environment on that particular project. So how we can recreate the virtual environment, we'll see. So first thing is what? You go to the project folder, wherever your project is there. Then you create the virtual environment in that particular folder. Then you activate that particular virtual environment. And whenever we create a project in Django, whatever requirements are there, first we create a list of that requirements with the help of pip phrase. Okay, we have a txt file where all the requirements are listed. Now again, what we want to do, we want that requirements back. Okay, so how do? We write pip install r, the name of the file. If the name of the file is requirements, you will write requirements.txt, and all the dependency of your Python or Django project will get installed automatically in that virtual environment. Now, if we have the models, you will run manage.py, make migrations and make migrate command, and you will run the server and check. This is basically when you have accidentally deleted your virtual environment. Okay. Next is what? Django project that was created without a virtual environment, and now you want to create a virtual environment. Means you have created a Django project because you were not knowing the concept of virtual environment. Now you want that Django project should not be present in the global system. It should be within the virtual environment. So you can do even that also. Create a virtual environment, activate the virtual environment, and install all the dependencies of the Django project in that particular virtual environment with the help of this. That's easy. And next time when you are working with that Django project, first activate the virtual environment and then you can start working with that project. Okay? So all the virtual environment would be clear after this video. If you still have any doubts related to virtual environment, write down in the comment box and I will give you the reply, or I will create another video if necessary for those questions. Okay? Thank you so much. And kindly like and subscribe my channel so that I can bring many more videos and projects based on Django. Thank you. Bye-bye.